Welcome back to Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy and we're gonna get straight into our daily stock recap. But first, I wanna look at GameStop stock because this thing is going parabolic. And I remember on my birthday back in 2020, remember the stock was trading at $5. This stock today, only 6 months later, hit $160. So if we're looking at this stock, you can just look at it and it just screams short squeeze. Like there's no other explanation on why this stock could be going so insane. The fundamentals are garbage for this stock, but this stock does not care. Short sellers have to keep covering because this thing just keeps going parabolic. So I want to look at the specific price action of just today. You can see right here, January 25th, we closed at around $63 on Friday, and then we exploded up, testing a day high of 158. And so although this stock has gone down significantly from that 158, I want to explain why that actually is not the worst thing, and then what happened today, what actually makes me a little bit more bullish and more confident that this stock can actually go even higher, and that is this gap to fill. So from the last trading session on Friday and then to today, you could see a huge gap up of almost about $40. And if we look at what happened today, we filled that entire gap to the downside. On the day, we tested a low of around 61, filling the gap that we needed to fill. And those of you who know trading, whenever there is a gap, that gap will always get filled, and you want it to be filled sooner rather than later if you want to see another move up. And so we filled the gap on the same day, and then we just climbed our way right back, and now we are sitting here at 76.79. This is a stock that I have no money in. I have no calls, I have no puts, I have no shares. I am just appreciating this stock and watching these hedge fund short sellers get destroyed. It is a scene to watch, and I am there to watch this stock. And so I was watching this stock all day, and I know a lot of you have may also been watching this stock. So I just wanted to cover this stock on the daily just to show you guys exactly what happened. Volume was insane, but those of you who are looking for another run up, there potentially could still be one, because the biggest thing for us that would have held us back is that gap to fill. Gap is filled. And let's see what happens tomorrow. I think this thing might just go off for another run, but that still remains to be seen. That was GameStop on the 30-minute time frame, up only 18% on the day. Second stock of the day, we're going back to our roots. NIO on the 30-minute time frame. So we are looking at NIO, and what happened last week was quite bullish. We broke above this line of resistance, but today you can see we stumbled our way right back into this channel. And so there was a lot of volatility midday in the markets today. There was a huge dump that just happened when GameStop hit their peak. Everything dropped following that drop. So what's next for NIO? In my opinion, I think we're gonna need a specific catalyst to not only get us above that line of resistance, but to keep us above that line of resistance. If you can remember, NIO Day was the reason why we were up here, but we could not sustain that hold. And right now we are below this line of resistance. One other thing I just wanna mention, that Q1 is usually the weakest for NIO. I remember in 2019, the first Q, everyone was anticipating a huge bump up after earnings, but we dumped like crazy, and that's what started a year-long downtrend in NIO. And so I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen. I'm just saying the first quarter is the weakest for NIO. So those people, if we do see a run up, maybe take some profits off the table, because more than likely we are going to see a less than expected outcome. And so that is just my 2 cents. I could be completely wrong. These guys could have another record delivery month or quarter, but just saying, seasonally it is a tough time for NIO. But we were down about 3.16%, and now we are back in our old trading channel. Third stock of the day, we're looking at BLNK on the 30-minute time frame. So BLNK charging, I did sell my puts today. I was waiting to see if we were going to break this line of support. So as I was watching this, we got to this point right here, and I started to see us kind of bouncing above this line of support. We had a lot of volume come in, and that's when I just cut it, and I said, okay, I'm going to take my profits on this one. I'm going to run. I don't want to hold this through another run up, because my premium and decay would just be getting lower. So I sold that, and then we ran up, and then we actually came right back down again in the same day, all the way down to about $43. So this volatility is definitely stressing investors and shareholders out. That is a guarantee. As of right now, we are sitting right above this line of support, and if we can hold this line of support tomorrow, I think there is a good chance we test the top of this line of resistance. And so remember, if we look at this chart and we look at this diagram, it doesn't really finish until we really get to this point at the end. And now I am a little bit more convinced that we might see this whole chart play out. And so that is why I also want to sell my puts, because if we are just going to trade sideways in this area, that does nothing for my premium. And so that's why I got rid of it. And so I'm still watching this chart very closely to see if we can either hold this support, break above this line of resistance at this Fibonacci level and test the top level of resistance, or if you're going to just trade sideways, see the finishing of this channel, and then rather going to make a move to the upside or to the downside. And so that remains to be seen. But again, we are way above our SMA levels, so we are still in bullish momentum in BLNK charging overall. For stock of the day, we're looking at GOEV, Canoe stock. So Canoe was down about 1.18% today. And it was a very tough day for Canoe. We broke down this line of support. We back tested it here. We got rejected. And right now we are underneath this line of support. And so we are really close to this upward trend line right here. So you can see this uptrend a lot clearer on the daily time frame. And as you can see, this 50 SMA is starting to come up and we are almost at this line of support. So I would not be surprised to see our price action touch this line of the 50 SMA and then either treat it as support, or we break down from it and then we treat it as resistance. And so right now for Canoe stock, I think there's a higher probability to back test this upward trend line as support to see if we can hold. If we cannot hold that line of support, watch the SMA and see how we react on the 50. If we get rejected by both, that is very bearish, and that will begin our bearish drop on Canoe stock, in which we should then see a test of this $13 range. But again, those are our two lines of safety. We have this upward trend line and we have this 50 SMA, which are getting very close to each other. So if we break those, watch out below on GOEV. Last stock of the day, we're looking at HYSR. Sun Hydrogen on the daily time frame was down about 5.3%. And so like I said before, I did expect the stock to bleed down a little bit, but it was bleeding down pretty well. We tested the bottom line of support here on this trend line. We bounced back up and now we are sitting above. If I zoom this in onto the 30-minute time frame, you can see clear we have a short-term temporary support line right here at around 23.5, and so that held up well today. We are sitting also above that line of support. And so if we're looking specifically at the volume for HYSR, you can see the volume is not that significant, even though it is selling volume. So I do think that this line of support right here on this trend line will act as a bottom in the short term, but that is still to be seen. I want to see a couple more days of price action to make that call. But as of right now, it is holding very nicely and the SMAs are starting to climb. So we are still in bullish momentum with this one. And overall, HYSR did bleed down a little bit, but it wasn't the worst thing. So solid day in my opinion. Overall, guys, that is our daily stock recap. If you like this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. This is Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and I will see you guys in the next one.